I'm Dan.
And I'm Carolyn.
And this episode, we're going to be talking to you about home bases for full-time RVers. And we've decided we needed a home base as part of our...
We definitely needed a home base.
As part of our long-term plan. And we're going to go over all the things we did to get here. It was roughly about a 2-year project.
And we're still working on it.
Yep. And what we're going to do in this episode is cover the 5 things we did to make this completed and go into a lot of detail and show you the actual construction and how things worked out. And we're going to show you how it's going to go from this raw land to this, our finished shop with everything on it. So we think it turned out great for us, and hopefully it'll be good information for you to decide if you want to do it and how you want to do it. One of the things we want to make sure and cover is it doesn't matter what size it is. You know, you may have a ranch with hundreds of acres. You may have a small gentleman piece of property like we do here with roughly 33 acres. Or you may just have a 1/4 acre or just a small plot. Kind of like the tiny homes they've been trying to sell with this COVID going on. It doesn't matter what size it is, but I think everybody would agree with us because of what's happened in this last 6 months, 7 months with COVID and full-time RVers, you need some place to go and hunker down just in case.
Yeah, I'm really, really thankful that we have some place to go during all this, so we weren't stuck out in campgrounds or another state that we were just stuck in. We couldn't get home.
Yeah, a lot of our other YouTubers we've been watching and such, they've had a real difficult time. Some places just don't allow out-of-staters, period. And if you do, you got to fill out quite a few forms to even get into the campground. So that's one of the reasons it's kind of saved us. We didn't know what was going to happen, but it worked out that way. So we're going to go ahead and cover the 5 steps that we went through, and hopefully it'll help you out. All right, the first of the 5 is you need to determine when and where you want to stay, why you want to be there. Yeah. The second one, number 2, is finances. Of course, you've got to pay for this. But determining on your budget what you're wanting to do will help you decide on what you can do and be able to do successfully without stressing the budget too much, because that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. Third thing, you need to identify the property. Where do you want to live? What kind of property do you want?
Well, we like Tennessee because there's no state income tax.
Yeah, that's one of the things we'll go over a little bit more in detail.
That's a plus.
The fourth thing is purchasing the property. You need to make sure you've got a good realtor, you're getting everything done. We'll go into more detail about that purchasing process.
Very important, a good realtor.
Yeah. Including ours. We'll go over the fun things we had happen while we're doing this, which is pretty unique. And of course, the 5th thing, construction. We have a lot of stuff going on with this property because it was raw, and we wanted to be able to have a full-time RV parking spot with all the amenities. We wanted our big building we have here for our future plans. And we also want to eventually build a retirement home. When we're too old to travel anymore, we decide we just want to stay. So,
and you have to remember that the builder's time, the construction time, is not always your time.
That's right. My past life was building very large, anywhere from 90,000 to 1 million square foot warehouses with high automation and everything, and they always took longer than expected.
Like twice as long. Twice as long.
And you have weather. And of course, some of the things that impacted us, of course, was COVID. It impacted our construction schedule too by a lot. So we'll cover that too. So those are the 5 things. So now we're going to dig into all those in detail. Okay, so we're going to have Carolyn talk about point number 1, determining where you want to be.
We like Tennessee. We've been here for over 20 years. We've lived in 5 different states, and this is our second time back in Tennessee with his work. And we just kind of fell in love with the state. It kind of grows on you after a while. And our kids and our grandkids are really close, but we like the fact there's no state income tax. Everything is inexpensive compared to especially out west or the East Coast.
Or the big cities. We've lived in big metropolitan areas too.
San Francisco,
Chicago,
Los Angeles, all those different places. So we've been there, done that. Kind of our dream was to find some place that we could just live on and enjoy it. The maintenance is low, the cost of living is low. And we really picked Tennessee because we liked it. Yeah,
and add on what Carolyn says, we've really seen a lot of the country. We've been to every state except for Alaska, which hopefully maybe next year we'll get up there. Either with our families when we were younger, or us together with the girls camping over all these years before they grew up. And especially since 2006, we've logged 170,000 miles on 5 Harleys we've gone through, riding all over the country with our friends and enjoying all the sights and really getting to see America over all these years.
During that time, we've been riding just on the Harley all the lower 48 states, which has been wonderful. We've had an awesome time.
So it really gave us a good idea of where we really wanted to live. All right, the second thing we want to talk about is finances. And I'll let Carolyn talk about it because I'm the businessman, but she's the banker in our family. She keeps track of what we're doing and all that good fun stuff. So I'll let her cover the finance part of it.
Well, you need to determine what you need to save, because we started saving a long time ago for something like this. We've put away as much as we possibly could, but you have to do what's good for you. Figure out a budget, what you can live on.
While you're still traveling, RVing.
While you're still traveling, that's what we did.
Yeah.
No, we figured it out a long time ago, but it takes a long time to make these things happen.
And don't give up. I mean, I always talk to other people of how they've done it. And like I mentioned, and I'll mention again, don't set your expectations too high. Quite frankly with you, I was looking for a couple 100 acres, and Carol didn't want that much.
No.
We'd be too far away from everybody.
No, I never see him because he'd be out hunting all the time.
And fishing, yeah, or foiling, whatever.
And that's too far away. It's too far away from our friends and family.
And more realistically, we had to say, okay, this is the piece of property we want. Here's what improvements we're going to make to it, and not put a strain on our finances and have it so we don't have to literally the bank own it instead of us. We're fortunate that way. Some people aren't, but that's what you really want to do, is make sure you do it right and do what you can afford, and don't give up. Keep looking. It's like Carolyn said, it took us 20 years really to do what we've done.
To find the right piece of property.
Yep.
In the right place.
And we tried a lot of times in the last 10 years specifically. People wouldn't take the offers or whatever it was, or the finances were just too much. And so we finally eventually ended up with what we got, and it's the best thing we could have had happen. It's a great piece of
It
property.
all worked out. It all worked out. It really did.
Mm-hmm. All right, the third thing is you need to identify the property of what you want. Once you've identified your finances and the functional needs you want for this home base, you need to look for what you want. And like we'd mentioned, it took us about 20 years of really looking at stuff and figuring out what we really wanted.
All the different states we looked in, we always looked for something, and especially Illinois, California, it's too expensive.
Yeah, a lot of places were. So, and like Carolyn mentioned, we lived here a couple times, and it's Carolyn's favorite place we've ever lived. In fact, it's so good. Our girls moved here, married, and they've got grandkids, and they're in the area. So we love Tennessee, like she mentioned. It's our favorite state. When we combine everything into it, the finances, the budget, the cost of living, the living, the culture, centrally we can get anywhere in the United States in a couple days. And we love it here, so that's why we chose Tennessee. We want to live near the kids and the grandkids. Both of our parents did a lot of traveling and still do. Her parents are still alive. And one of the regrets they have was living too far away from us and all the grandkids in the family. Yes. So we made a conscious decision that, we love Tennessee. The girls and the grandbabies are all here. So Tennessee would be the best spot, and Carol will be happy seeing the grandkids and spoil them. And I actually have a good time with them, too.
We have 6 grandkids.
Yep. And we've been involved in their lives and vice versa. And it makes it a lot easier. So when we come home for Christmases or New Year's or birthdays, or just come here just to relax, they're here. So it really makes for a lot of good times and good memories. As you see, this is a great home base we've got here, and it's a lot of fun for the kids to come out here and enjoy themselves. They can even come out here and go camping if they want to.
They like the 4-wheelers.
4-wheelers, hiking, seeing all kinds of animals, helping me on the tractor, helping me.
No fishing though. No fishing yet.
Not yet. Eventually, hopefully, have a pond. But fishing not too far away. We got a great lake we've gone to and caught fish. Low maintenance and upkeep costs. We still want to travel. We don't want to have, the upkeep costs and maintenance you would with a home. We made it where it'd be very simple. We've got the spot for the RV. Mm-hmm. We've got our building here for our future, using it while we're home. And in the future, depending on what we want to do as far as businesses.
Yeah, he's going to have his office in there.
Yes.
In here.
And the only costs is water and electricity when we're here, which with an RV isn't much.
No, it's not.
Since we have property taxes, we don't have to worry about that. So
we have property tax.
I'm sorry. We have very low property taxes. Extremely low.
Very low.
Compared to everywhere else.
Taxes.
See, it's so low we forgot we had it. We have state taxes, sales tax.
But no state income tax.
Yep. The other thing was, we wanted to be able to have a place that when we're here, we feel like we're still camping.
Yeah, it does.
And
it's a beautiful forest out there.
We do. The 33 acres, it's 60% pasture, 40% forest. We've got deer, we got turkey, we got coyotes, we've got bobcats, we've got
emus.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll tell you that funny story. We even had an emu here for a while. I place a lot of game cameras around the property in certain spots so I can keep an eye on what's going on with the property while we're here, and especially while we're gone, to make sure no one's here that shouldn't be. And the other is to capture the game we have here, because we have quite a bit of game. So I was checking my cameras And it was in early March. And of course I have the normal pictures of turkeys. We've captured pictures of lots of deer, coyotes. But then this picture cropped up. It's an emu. Who in the world would have thought we had emus here?
It was neighbors.
and where we're at, it really does. I was teasing Carol while we're sitting here during COVID. I said, you know, we've seen more animals here than when we've been in Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, or anything else, because they're just all over. We have a good piece of property. There's a lot of farmland.
We don't have any buffalo, though.
No buffalo. Yet.
No.
So that's what we really like. The other thing is we're close to amenities. One town to the east, 15 minutes away, we got Walmart's, Lowe's, all the big stores.
All the box stores.
Yep, and to the south of us, the same thing. Another 15 minutes, the whole another group of the same stores. And then our main town here, where our one of our daughters and son-in-law and our grandkids are, it's a great little town.
It's so cute.
It reminds us of when we lived in Orange, back in Orange County, back in the late
60s and 70s.
70s when we lived there. I mean, even the schools are great. They teach them the 3 R's. The kids behave, yes sir, no sir. Football's, all the sports are a big deal here. It's a great family place, great place to raise kids. So that's what we want. We want to make sure Carolyn didn't want to feel like she lived in the boonies and can never get to town and get stuff. Me too. You know, I got to go to the store, get hardware stuff, or go to the tractor supply place, get stuff for my tractor, whatever I need. It's close by. I can either go in the car, just hop on the Harley, go get it, and come back. So that was a big factor, the amenities. The other big thing we ran into a lot, we didn't want any easements on our property. And for those of you who don't know what easements are, is you can't legally surround someone else's property and they can't get to it. So someone has to allow easements, which is basically a road, through your property to get to their property. And we saw a lot of great pieces of property, but we started digging into it.
Too many easements.
Too many easements. In fact, one we found that was great, but there's like 5 different roads going to it. And one of them was to the lake where they were going to build a big giant bar, restaurant, and pier and boating area. So our place would have been a damn drive-through parking lot.
And we couldn't keep them out.
Yeah, and it took us a while to figure that out. The realtor didn't say much. And nothing against realtors.
We got rid of that realtor, though.
You've got to ask a lot of questions. Why is it so expensive? Drive around the property. Look at it. Do your homework. Really do your homework, because we did drive around the property with our kids and grandkids and checked it out before we ever purchased it. Lady said this was in CCR the last 10 years, and it's out now, so they haven't farmed it in 10 years. So they've kept it up. Good old trees in here. All right, the next thing we want to cover is number 4, purchasing the property. And I'll let Carolyn talk about how she found it.
Well, we were somewhere, and I was just decided to, you know, I'd go on Zillow or Realtor.com, and I was just looking for property, and I thought, okay, well, let's look in West Tennessee again. So I'm just scrolling through these things, and I found 2 of them, 2 properties in West Tennessee. I was like, oh, okay, well, those look really good, and oh my gosh, they're near grandkids and our daughters. So my son-in-law, he went out and looked at them, and he came back and says, oh my gosh, Mom and Dad, you have got to look at this one. This is it, because he knew what we were looking for. And he was right.
Yep.
This was it.
It was it. We came home, and we actually got with the realtor. We got permission to come out here on 4-wheelers. So we got on the 4-wheelers, and we took our daughter and son-in-law and our youngest granddaughter, and we rode on the 4-wheelers, just checking the place out, seeing what was here.
Everywhere.
The one good thing about it was, besides no easements we talked about, we wanted to make sure we weren't going to have to worry about people encroaching on us in the future. And the best thing about this is the land is a square. Where we're sitting at the high point where we've got all the improvements is the highest elevation. And it slopes down to the very back of the property.
So no flooding.
No flooding. It slopes down about 80 feet. So it's a good grade. Not too much, but a good grade.
It's very gradual.
Yep.
Very gradual.
At the south end, we have a church. It's been there since, I think the oldest gravestone's 1846. It's an active church. We've actually gone there. They're very nice people, so we don't have to worry about anybody on that side of us on the south.
Yes.
On the far east, it's owned by some very large, well, there's a good size farm area back there owned by a farm cooperative that they're doing soybean and cotton. But just beyond there, there's other homes of families. Or I should say, mini ranches and farms. The other part is on to the north of us here are the actual families, descendants of the people we bought this property from. There's 3 different families in the whole area here for probably a good square mile where we're not family members. So it's been in their family forever. They don't plan on getting rid of it. We were surprised why they sold this, in fact, but they had put kids through college, so they sold it. And it's a great piece of property. We
Everything we've been looking for
yeah, thank goodness.
for a long time.
And the other thing was is they wanted to make sure we weren't going to put a chicken farm here. Nothing against you chicken farmers, but there's a lot of activity with that going on here in this part of Tennessee. And they found out we were going to put a chicken farm, so they said, okay, we'll sell to you. You're a family. That's good.
Yeah, we want to keep it just like it is. It's
Yep.
beautiful.
So, and then of course on the west side is the main road that we live off of here that goes into town. So it's perfect. And there's no easements, none whatsoever. So we don't have to worry about that. So long range, this will be in our family when we're gone, and the kids can enjoy it, and the grandkids can enjoy it. So that was another thing. Roughly, the process took about a month and a half. We rode around the property, we loved it. We got negotiations with the realtor. We hit the road again because we're, of course, full-time RVers, and we went back and forth with negotiations. I had to get a contractor to come out and make sure, number one, we could put in utilities we wanted in that. As part of the closing costs, had to do a survey, make sure everything was right the way we wanted it. And
Septic too. We had to make sure we could put septic in because it is out in the country.
yeah, and we were trying to get a well. It didn't work out, but they did have city water, and we didn't know if we were going to go propane or gas, because there wasn't gas out here. But since we've been here in the last year and a half, they actually just got done installing natural gas line in front of us this last week.
So we may be going natural gas. We
Yep.
still haven't quite decided on that.
Yep. Like I mentioned, we had the survey done. We made sure they marked all the utilities where they're at, so we knew. The other thing is when you're negotiating this contract, make sure you get all the mineral rights, water rights, timber rights, hunting and fishing rights, because those things people don't realize. People may already own those, and then you're stuck. You got a piece of property you can't use. You can't do what you want to with it. So make sure you have those things. Make sure you can put septic in here. Make sure there's, like Carol mentioned, our electric. They had to come in with a cable off a transformer, and we're actually bringing it in and going underground for the building here and eventually the house. We have a temporary stand right now for the RV and for some little bit of electricity we have here in the shop. But you gotta make sure you can do all that stuff. And then once that's all done, then you can make an offer. Make sure you make an offer where you got room to negotiate. You know you always got to give and take, and you want both parties to feel like they got the better end of the deal. So
The best deal for everybody all around.
that's right. And we came to that. We're all happy. In fact, the people we bought it from, we see them in church all the time and talk about the property and what they're doing and everything else and what they used to do here.
Nice people.
So it really helps out. Make sure and hire a good contractor. I've built stuff before, but I don't want the liability, number one, and two, I don't have a contractor's license, so I can't get the permits and everything to be done out here. And they know what needs to be done and can't done, and they know about local resources. So get a good contractor at the beginning to actually help you before you purchase a property. Make sure it's doable and you know what the costs are going to be. It's very important, very important. So we got all that stuff done. We figured out we could do everything we wanted to, so we finally purchased a property. And as kind of funny story, my father passed away, my stepmother, they both had a place down in South Texas that we actually did a video on, that we were down there. And we needed to move her, so we went up to the Kansas City area right before Thanksgiving. And it was beautiful 80-degree day.
It was beautiful.
Packing her up, and then all of a sudden we see storms coming in, then I'll let her take it from there.
And then the next thing you know, we're watching the storm come in. It's like, oh my gosh, it's going to snow. It's 80 degrees and it's going to snow.
It's a blizzard.
It's a blizzard.
Not just snow. And here's clips of the video of that.
It was an absolute blizzard. Well, at least Dad's getting the snow off the top of the trailer. So we were packing her up, and we saw the storm coming in, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to snow. It's going to be a blizzard. They're calling for a blizzard. So we packed everything we could. The fifth wheel, where we normally have the bike, in the garage area, we just packed all her stuff in there, got it back to the campground, and that night the blizzard hit. So it went down. We had a blizzard and down to 26 degrees from being 80 degrees the day before.
In the daytime, and at night it was in the teens for the next 3 days.
Yeah, so we were kind of stuck in the campground for a few days.
They shut down I-70 right there, not 100 yards away from us, for about 20 hours.
Yeah, there was semis parked on the road because they couldn't go anywhere either.
Yeah, we finalized the deal, and then we had to find a notary to notarize all this and take care of it while we're on the road.
Yes, while the blizzard's going on.
So we actually found a notary in a supermarket chain. It took us about 45 minutes to go 3 or 4 miles there to get it.
Yeah.
We got it completed, got it all done, and we were owners of this property.
There was some very creativity going on to get this closed.
Yeah. So the lesson learned is don't give up. When there's a will, there's a way, and if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And it definitely happened for us.